Chinese scientists are experimenting with a mutant COVID strain, 100% lethal in mice. Despite critics' warning, this research could spark another pandemic. Former CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield is here to react. Good morning, Dr. Redfield.
Good morning.
Good morning. Here we go again. Why would they do this again?
Well, you know, Angela, I'm very much against the wisdom of doing this gain-of-function research. I mean, I'm of the view that the original COVID pandemic was a direct consequence of laboratory research that helped educate the virus to become more transmissible human to human, not more pathogenic. And the work you talk about today is work that they're doing that actually is changing the pathogenicity of these viruses. I think until we really have a better debate about whether there's any value in this gain-of-function research, we ought to have a moratorium on it. Clearly, we don't have the biocontainment up to par to do this kind of research. I think it's very dangerous.
People have been wondering if it was spread because of a lab leak, and Dr. Fauci's ex-boss was talking to Congress. The headline on Fox News is Fauci's ex-boss now says COVID-19 lab leak theory was credible despite previous claims it was a distraction. So now he's saying that, but he downplayed it when he was interviewed with Brett Baer back in 2021. Listen to this.
I'm really sorry that the lab leak has become such a distraction for so many people, because frankly, we still don't know. There is no evidence really to say. Most of the scientific community, myself included, think that is a possibility, but far more likely this was a natural way in which a virus left a bat, maybe traveled through some other species and got to humans.
But now he's saying it is credible. He told Congress that. How can we trust the NIH? And why is he changing his story now?
Well, you know, I'm very disappointed in both him and Fauci that they didn't provide the scientific leadership in January, February 2020 to aggressively investigate both hypotheses, the spillover and the lab leak. That's normally what the scientific community would do. Instead, they very rapidly sort of rallied the troops around one idea that this had to come from a spillover, even though I will say over the last 3 to 4 years, all the evidence that's been gathered points more towards lab leak, and obviously we haven't found any evidence to support the spillover. They did this, I think, largely because they thought they were protecting science, and the science that they were protecting is this gain-of-function research that they want to do. But in fact, they did the opposite. I think we've lost a lot of credibility in both NIH and unfortunately CDC because of their lack of transparency.
Also, Dr. Redfield, we wanted to ask you about this story out of Virginia. The health department officials there are warning travelers if they travel through Dulles Airport or Reagan Airport on January 3rd or January 4th, be on the lookout for measles. A patient was walking through the airport and had measles. I know this is easily transmitted. Can you tell us more about this, and what should we look for if someone watching did travel during these days?
Yeah, so measles is highly infectious. It's probably the most infectious virus we have. I think COVID-19 is probably the second most infectious virus we have, and that's again why I think it was engineered. The reality, though, is if you've been vaccinated against measles, or if you're older and had measles when you were a young child, like I did, you really have nothing to worry about. The immunity that you get from the vaccine or from natural infection is long-term durable immunity. The people at risk are the people that have been unvaccinated. And unfortunately, and COVID led to this with the increase in vaccine hesitancy, there's a lot of people that really have not had their children vaccinated against measles, and those are the children that are at risk. Measles is actually causing outbreaks in a number of countries around the world, and that's why these travelers, potentially people coming across the southern border, can bring measles in. But the best defense for the viewers here is to be vaccinated, and if you are vaccinated, you really don't need to be concerned.
That's the MMR, right? Measles, mumps, and rubella?
Yes.
And you only need one shot in your lifetime?
Yeah, well, children we usually give two, usually one between 12 and 15 months, and then another one between 4 and 6 years. But adults, you can actually get through with just one. Some physicians give you two, but one shot is adequate.
Okay, Dr. Redfield, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. God bless.
God bless you too. Coming up, climate protesters throwing themselves